My wife said, if we ever divorced, you'd walk away with nothing. Whenever her tech salary came up, I replied, okay, until I caught her office affair and took the proof to a North Carolina divorce lawyer. Minutes into the meeting, someone revealed, my lawyer just told me something that completely changed how I'm looking at the worst month of my life. I'm still processing this, but I think I need to share because maybe it helps someone else going through financial panic during divorce. I'm Reed, 38M, been doing HVAC repair in Charlotte for 12 years now. Solid work, steady income around $55K, never missed a day unless I was genuinely sick. Married to Sky for 9 years, together for 11 total. She works in tech marketing, pulls in $120K plus a year, which honestly always made me feel financially vulnerable in our marriage. Here's the thing nobody talks about when your spouse significantly out-earns you. Everything major is in their name. Our house. Her credit qualified us for the mortgage, so she's primary on the deed. Retirement accounts? Hers are massive compared to mine. Savings? Most of it came from her salary while mine covered daily expenses. I always felt like I was one argument away from losing everything we'd built together. 3 weeks ago, I was planning our 10th anniversary trip to Europe, had been saving my contributions for months, researching affordable hotels while she looked at upscale places her income could support. I thought we were solid, maybe not exciting anymore, but stable. Then I found out about the affair in the stupidest way possible. Our shared iPad was acting up, so I was trying to clear some storage space when I saw message previews from someone named Dove. Can't wait to see you tonight. These work trips are the only time I feel like myself. I know this is complicated with your marriage, but what we have is real. Reed's sweet, but he doesn't challenge you the way I do. That sick feeling in your stomach when your entire financial future crumbles. Yeah, that. I scrolled through months of messages. They'd been together since January. Started during some company retreat in Asheville. Dove's a 26-year-old co-worker in her department. Ambitious and educated. Everything I'm not in terms of career trajectory. The messages weren't just sexual. They were planning a future together. Sky talking about feeling trapped in our marriage. How she'd outgrown our relationship. How I was reliable but limiting. And she needed someone who matched her professional ambition. When I confronted her that night, she didn't even try to deny it. How long? Since January. Are you leaving? I don't know. I need space to figure things out. That's when the real panic hit. Not just the emotional devastation, though that was brutal, but the financial reality. She makes more than double what I do. In divorce, that usually means the higher earner keeps most assets while the lower earner gets screwed. I started doing mental math. The house we've been paying on for 6 years, mostly with her income. Her 401k with $180K versus my $30K. The savings account with $40K that I'd contributed maybe $8K to over the years. I was looking at potentially walking away from 9 years of marriage with my truck, my tools, and whatever equity share I could prove I'd contributed to assets primarily funded by her salary. My coworker Zane went through a nasty divorce 2 years ago. Got destroyed because his ex made more money. Courts don't care who was faithful, he warned me. They care about income and asset contribution. I called Iris Montrose, a divorce attorney someone recommended. Expensive consultation, but I needed to understand exactly how fucked I was financially. Went into her office yesterday expecting to learn about protecting my truck and maybe getting a few thousand from house equity. Instead, she started asking detailed questions about the affair timeline and evidence. Mr. Buchanan, do you have proof of adultery? I showed her the text messages, photos from their romantic getaways disguised as work trips, hotel receipts I'd found. She started smiling. Are you familiar with North Carolina's approach to adultery and divorce proceedings? I was not. Adultery isn't just grounds for divorce here. It affects everything. Asset division, spousal support, the entire settlement structure. Your wife's infidelity fundamentally changes your financial position. I stared at her. What does that mean exactly? It means instead of worrying about losing everything, you might actually be entitled to spousal support from her. North Carolina law recognizes that the faithful spouse shouldn't be financially punished for the unfaithful spouse's misconduct. The relief was so intense I almost laughed out loud. All those sleepless nights worrying about financial ruin, and it turns out her affair legally protected me instead of destroying me. She doesn't know this? Most people assume divorce settlements are purely financial calculations. They don't realize that fault, especially adultery, can override income disparity in asset division and support determinations. Iris explained that North Carolina weighs adultery heavily in divorce proceedings. The cheating spouse often loses advantages they'd normally have due to higher income. The faithful spouse, regardless of earnings, gets legal protection. What's your realistic expectation for settlement? 50-50 asset split despite income difference, potential spousal support for 3 to 5 years, and she keeps the professional consequences of workplace affair. I stared at her. Spousal support from her to me? You've been married 9 years, significant income disparity, and she committed adultery. You're exactly the type of plaintiff North Carolina law protects. I signed papers to file immediately based on adultery rather than waiting for year-long separation. Walking out of that office, I felt something I hadn't felt in 3 weeks. Security, not happiness. I'm still processing having my marriage destroyed by someone I trusted completely, but financial security. The irony is thick. I always felt vulnerable because she earned more, worried I wasn't contributing enough financially, feared she'd leave and take everything we'd built. Turns out, her decision to cheat means I won't be financially destroyed by her betrayal. She made her choice. Now she gets to live with the legal consequences while I get to rebuild without starting from zero. Sometimes the system actually protects the right person. Update 1. Sky got served yesterday at her tech company office. Iris arranged for professional service during business hours, which felt appropriate since the affair started at her workplace. The process server said she went pale when she read the divorce papers, especially the part about seeking spousal support based on adultery and income disparity. Her first call came 30 minutes later. Reed, what the hell? You're asking for alimony from me? I'm asking for spousal support that North Carolina law says I'm entitled to after being betrayed by someone who makes twice my salary. This is insane. You can't be serious. I told her to call my attorney if she wanted to discuss legal matters. Hung up. The second call came 2 hours later. Different tone entirely. Baby, we need to talk. This whole divorce thing. We're rushing into something that will hurt both of us. What we had was real. This affair with Dove, it was a mistake. I was confused about what I wanted. Funny how it became a mistake the moment she realized she might be writing me checks for the next 4 years. The third call was that night, around 9 p.m. I could hear she'd been crying. I love you, Reed. I've always loved you. Dove was just excitement, you know, something new and different. But you're my husband. You're steady, reliable. We can rebuild this if you just drop the adultery filing. I recorded that conversation and sent it to Iris this morning. Evidence that her reconciliation attempts started the exact moment she learned about potential spousal support obligations, not genuine remorse about the affair. Here's what I'm learning about the financial reality. Iris walked me through what spousal support typically looks like with our income difference. I could potentially receive $1,502,000 monthly for 3 to 5 years. Plus, I'm entitled to half the equity in our house, even though the mortgage is primarily in her name and payments came mostly from her salary. The retirement account situation is even better than I expected. Her 401k with $180,000 versus my $30,000. I'm entitled to half of any retirement funds accumulated during the marriage. That's potentially $90,000 from her account that I'd never see in a typical divorce. But the house equity thing, how does that work when she paid most of the mortgage? Doesn't matter, Iris explained. Marriage is considered economic partnership in North Carolina. Assets acquired during marriage are presumed marital property regardless of individual contribution. Your HVAC work enabled her career advancement by providing household stability. That hit me. All those years feeling like I wasn't contributing enough financially, worried that my smaller paycheck made me less valuable as a partner. Turns out the law recognizes that supporting someone's career advancement creates shared equity even when paychecks are different sizes. The irony is almost funny. I spent 9 years feeling financially vulnerable because she earned more. Now her affair has potentially put me in the strongest financial position I've ever been in. But here's what's bothering me. I don't actually want her money. I want security, stability, the ability to rebuild without starting from zero. But taking monthly payments from someone who betrayed me feels weird, even though I legally earned them by being faithful. That's normal, Iris said when I mentioned the discomfort. Most men struggle with receiving spousal support due to cultural programming. But you supported her career advancement for 9 years while earning less. You're entitled to transition assistance that recognizes your contribution. Mutual friends are reacting. Interestingly, some think I'm being vindictive by filing based on adultery instead of no-fault separation. Our neighbor Beth said, "Everyone makes mistakes. Destroying her financially won't bring back your marriage." But I'm not destroying her financially. I'm protecting myself from being destroyed financially by someone who planned to leave me with nothing. Other friends understand completely. My buddy Marcus said, "Dude, she cheated and makes twice what you do. Take everything the law gives you and don't feel guilty about it." The most telling conversation was with Tom, Sky's co-worker who knows about the affair situation. She's been telling people at work that you're being unreasonable about the divorce terms. Says you're trying to punish her for one mistake. One mistake. Like systematically lying to your spouse while planning secret exit strategies is just an oopsie that deserves forgiveness. What's she saying specifically? That you're asking for spousal support out of spite, not need. That you could support yourself just fine with HVAC work. I could support myself. That's not the point. The point is that I supported us both for 9 years while she advanced her career, then she used that career advancement to find my replacement. The law says I'm entitled to transition support that reflects our economic partnership. I'm taking it. Sky's been texting constantly since getting served. The messages alternate between guilt, anger, and desperate negotiation. "I know I hurt you, but we can work through this if you just give us a chance. You're being vindictive and cruel, asking for money you don't need. I'll end things with Dove completely. We can go to counseling. Just drop the spousal support thing." The spousal support thing. Like legal protection for the faithful spouse is just petty revenge rather than recognition of economic contribution. I haven't responded to any texts. Iris advised complete no contact except through attorneys. And honestly, I don't trust myself to have conversations with her right now. I'm not angry yet. I'm still processing that someone I trusted completely turned out to be someone else entirely. But I can feel the anger building. And when it arrives, I want legal protection already in place. Work's been a good distraction. HVAC emergency calls don't care about your personal drama. Plus overtime helps with attorney fees, and soon I might not need to stress about overtime just to stay financially stable. Next hearing is in 10 days. Iris says spousal support determination should be straightforward given our income disparity and clear adultery evidence. How long before this is final? 4 to 6 weeks if she doesn't contest. Longer if she tries to fight the adultery findings or support amount. Something tells me she's going to fight. People who cheat usually don't accept consequences gracefully. Update 2. We both moved out of our shared apartment when the lease expired last week. Splitting 9 years of belongings was as awful as you'd expect, but during the process, I found things that confirmed what I'd started suspecting. This wasn't just an affair that happened. This was a carefully planned exit strategy. Hidden in her desk drawer, the one she always kept locked for sensitive work documents, I found printouts about North Carolina divorce law, articles about asset division, factors that influence spousal support, typical settlement timelines. All printed in December, a month before her affair officially started. She'd been researching how to leave me without losing anything. Also found a notebook with what looked like pros and cons about our marriage. Pro: I keep house equity and retirement funds. Con: Reed might ask for spousal support. Pro: I can afford attorney fees better. Con: Workplace relationship could get complicated. She'd been calculating how to minimize her financial losses while maximizing what she could keep from our marriage. The timeline makes perfect sense now. December: Research divorce law. January: Start affair to have emotional support during planned separation. Expected to file sometime this summer and offer me minimal settlement, assuming I'd accept whatever she proposed because of income difference. What she didn't research thoroughly enough was how adultery affects asset division and spousal support in North Carolina. Apparently assumed she could control the narrative and terms. Our mutual friends have been educational. Kate, who was Sky's college roommate, admitted she'd known about the divorce plans since February. She said you two had grown in different directions, that she was planning to end things once she figured out the best way to handle finances. I thought she meant waiting for tax season or something. The best way to handle finances, while planning to leave me with nothing. James, her co-worker, was more direct. She told me in March that divorce was inevitable, but she wanted to make sure she could keep the house and her retirement accounts. Said you'd probably be reasonable about settlement terms because you're not confrontational. Not confrontational. Translation: pushover who won't fight for fair treatment. The most revealing conversation was with our neighbor Beth, who mentioned that Sky had asked about divorce attorney recommendations for a friend back in February. Same time she was deepening her affair with Dove, building emotional support for her planned exit. So while I was planning our anniversary trip, she was consulting lawyers about leaving me. While I was encouraging her career advancement, she was using professional development opportunities to get closer to her replacement. While I was being a loyal husband, she was positioning me as the financial obstacle to her new life. The professional consequences are getting serious now. HR finished investigating the workplace relationship and found policy violations during the management retreat where their affair became physical. No termination, but formal reprimand and removal from advancement track. Her career trajectory just hit a wall right when she needs maximum income for potential spousal support payments. Dove requested transfer to their Austin office to avoid the workplace drama. Turns out workplace affairs are less romantic when there are actual career consequences and legal proceedings involved. Sky called me Tuesday night, sounding panicked for the first time. "Reed, I need you to be reasonable about this spousal support thing. I know you're hurt, but asking for monthly payments isn't going to fix our marriage. I'm not trying to fix our marriage. I'm protecting myself from being financially destroyed by someone who planned to leave me with nothing. That's not what I was planning. I just wanted to make sure we both had security." I asked her to explain the legal research from December, the divorce consultations from February, the notebook calculating how to keep assets away from me. Long silence. I was scared about what divorce might look like. I was trying to understand our options. Your options, not our options. Your options for leaving me without sharing what we built together. She hung up. Iris says my case keeps getting stronger. The evidence of premeditation actually helps demonstrate that this wasn't spontaneous mistake, but calculated betrayal. Plus, Sky's career setback might reduce her ability to pay spousal support, but it doesn't eliminate the obligation. How much are we talking about realistically? Given your income disparity, the length of marriage, and her misconduct, I'd expect $1,800 monthly for 3 to 4 years, plus 50% of house equity and retirement funds accumulated during marriage. I stared at her. That's like getting a raise. That's getting compensation for supporting someone's career advancement while they plan to abandon you. You earned this through 9 years of loyalty while she calculated her exit strategy. The emotional processing has been weird. I'm not devastated anymore. I'm not even angry, really. I'm mostly just relieved. Relieved that I discovered her character before she could execute her plan. Relieved that North Carolina law protects people in my situation. Relieved that her careful calculations backfired completely. But also vindicated. All those years feeling like I wasn't contributing enough because I earned less. Worrying that I was holding her back professionally. Questioning my value as a partner. None of that was about my actual worth. It was about her viewing our marriage as financial arrangement instead of partnership. Work's been steady, which helps. HVAC emergency calls don't care about your divorce drama, and honestly, fixing other people's broken systems while mine gets sorted out legally has been therapeutic. Plus, overtime pays attorney fees, and soon I might have spousal support covering basic expenses. My supervisor Danny knows what's happening and offered me apprenticeship opportunities for commercial HVAC work. Higher pay scale, more specialized skills, potential to eventually start my own business. Might be good timing, he said. Fresh start, more income, chance to build something that's entirely yours. He's right. For 9 years I supported her career advancement while putting my own opportunities on hold. Time to invest in myself instead of someone who was secretly planning to take everything and leave. The settlement conference is next week. Iris expects Sky will try to negotiate down the spousal support amount. Maybe offer larger one-time payment instead of monthly obligations. What's your preference? Whatever gives me the most security and recognizes what I contributed to this marriage while she was planning her exit. Sometimes the legal system actually works. Sometimes being loyal and supportive gets protected instead of exploited. Sometimes the person who plans to screw you ends up screwing themselves instead. Final update. The final settlement exceeded even Iris's expectations. $1,500 monthly spousal support for 4 years, 50% of house equity, half her retirement contributions during our marriage. Sky keeps her higher income and all the professional consequences that come with workplace affairs. The hearing lasted 30 minutes. Sky's attorney tried arguing that spousal support was unnecessary since I'm capable of self-support through HVAC work. The judge cut him off. Counselor, your client committed adultery while earning significantly more than the plaintiff. She planned divorce proceedings while concealing an affair. North Carolina recognizes that the faithful spouse deserves transition support, regardless of their ability to survive independently. 9 years of marriage, reduced to a 30-minute legal proceeding. But unlike what I'd feared for months, I walked out financially secure instead of devastated. The aftermath taught me something I didn't expect about myself. When the first support payment arrived, I felt weird about it. Not grateful, weird. Like I was taking something I didn't earn. That's when I realized how deep the programming goes. I'd spent 9 years feeling like my smaller paycheck made me less valuable, like I owed her something extra because she earned more. Even when she betrayed me completely, part of me still felt guilty about receiving money from her. My buddy Marcus helped me understand it. Dude, you supported her career advancement for 9 years, stayed home when she traveled for work, handled household stuff when she worked late, encouraged her to take promotions that required more time away. You enabled her higher income. This isn't charity. It's compensation for contribution. He was right. I'd spent years minimizing my role in our partnership because it wasn't financial. Turns out economic partnership includes all the invisible work that enables someone else's career success. The really strange part? Sky made one final attempt at reconciliation right after the settlement. Not before, after. Once the legal obligations were locked in and couldn't be changed. Read, I know things ended badly, but maybe we could try again. I've learned so much about myself through this process. I asked her what she'd learned. That I made terrible choices. That I hurt someone who loved me. That affairs are never worth it. What about the divorce research from December? The planning to leave me without any assets? The calculated exit strategy? I was scared about my future. I didn't handle it well. That's when I understood. She hadn't learned about loyalty or honesty or partnership. She'd learned that betrayal has financial consequences. Now that she was locked into support payments, reconciliation became appealing again. I walked away. Not angrily, not dramatically. Just walked to my truck and drove to my apartment that's mine, funded partly by monthly payments from someone who planned to take everything from me. The emotional processing has been weird. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not really hurt anymore either. I'm mostly just relieved. Relieved that I discovered who she was before she could execute her plan. Relieved that the legal system occasionally protects loyal people. Relieved that I learned my worth isn't determined by my paycheck. Someone who truly values you doesn't make you feel financially inadequate. They don't view your marriage as economic arrangement with unequal contributions. They don't research divorce options while planning affairs. The support payments end in 3.5 years, but honestly, they've already served their purpose. They gave me time to rebuild confidence, invest in myself, and understand what healthy relationships actually look like. I took that commercial HVAC apprenticeship my supervisor offered. Higher pay, specialized skills, potential to start my own business eventually. For 9 years I supported someone else's career advancement. Time to invest that energy in myself instead. The settlement money went toward a down payment on a small house. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. Bought furniture I actually like instead of compromising on style. Built a workshop in the garage for weekend projects. Created a space that reflects who I am instead of who I think someone else wants me to be. Sky got to keep her higher income, her career advancement, and all the consequences that come with workplace affairs. HR investigation concluded with formal reprimand and removal from management track. Dove transferred to Austin rather than deal with ongoing drama. Professional reputation damaged but intact. Meanwhile, I got financial security, genuine self-respect, and someone who appreciates stability over excitement, character over salary, honest partnership over calculated manipulation. She thought higher income meant automatic advantage in divorce, thought loyalty was weakness she could exploit, thought careful planning would protect her from consequences. Turns out adultery beats salary every time. Sometimes being faithful pays, literally and figuratively. Sometimes the person planning to screw you ends up screwing themselves instead.